It's really important to recognise the gender pay gap. It's been around for at least 40 years. Back in the 70s, we had the equal pay legislation, and unfortunately we're still running a gap of around 14% for women in work.
We in the Labour Party have put forward a bill to tackle the gender pay gap, a gender pay gap bill that would require companies to publish anonymised data showing whether a gender pay gap exists in their organisation, whether women in their company are earning less than men. It's simply untenable that in 2018 we're still continuing to pay women less than men on a general rate across different industries and professions.
In terms of examples for young people, I mean, if they look at where their mothers are working or where their sisters are working and they're earning, a lot less than their brothers or their fathers. I mean, at this point in time, women earn no money for the last month or the last 6 weeks of the year, and that's saying a lot to our young women. It's saying a lot to people in education who outperform men and outperform boys in a lot of cases, but they don't get that reward when they go into the workplace.
Our Labour bill has passed all stages in the Seanad, and yet the government are still dragging their heels despite promising similar legislation. They haven't taken up our challenge to amend our bill and bring this legislation through as quickly as possible. The sort of measures we need to take would include positive action measures in recruitment, and we're seeing that now being rolled out across Britain, where wage transparency legislation there has caused employers to wake up to the fact that a gender pay gap exists in their organisation.
The Irish Congress of Trade Unions has been campaigning for many years on equal pay, and it's really important that this bill goes through for lots of different reasons. We know from different countries that when this legislation changes, it improves the situation for women in the workplace.
So we in Labour are calling on the government on Equal Pay Day to do more, and to do more urgently, to tackle the real and substantive issue of the gender pay gap for women and for men.
So we look forward to welcoming this new legislation to significantly reduce the gender pay gap over the period of time, and we really want to work with the Labour Party and the trade union movement to strengthen other industrial relations mechanisms and other employment legislation, such as collective bargaining and union recognition.
Over the past 11 years, the gender pay gap in Ireland has narrowed by only 4 percentage points. This progress is not quick enough. If the government is really committed to alleviating this problem, they need to adopt the Pay Transparency Bill, which has already passed through the Seanad, rather than going with a slower course of action, which would be to introduce new government legislation. The time for action is now. Women have waited long enough.